Welcome back! My name is ballerscuba. This is Video Games Over Time. We are still in 1976, and today we're going to talk about Colossal Cave Adventure. Our story starts at Bolt, Beranek and Newman, BBN, an American research and development company. There, Will Crowther was working as a programmer, helping to develop the ARPANET, which we briefly talked about in our 1972 video. In his free time, Will Crowther enjoyed caving, having even created some maps of the Mammoth Cave in Kentucky for the Cave Research Foundation. Also, Crowther enjoyed playing Dungeons & Dragons with a group of friends. Crowther wanted to combine these two hobbies together to create a video game. He created a control scheme for his video game where the player would use a natural language input for the commands. This system allowed even non-programmers to feel like they were actually commanding the program. Through 1975 and 1976, Crowther developed his cave exploration game, with the original game written for BBN's PDP-10 computer. Crowther had written code for 78 map locations, mostly based on the Colossal Cave in the Mammoth Cave system. Crowther showed it off to his coworkers at BBN before leaving for a month-long vacation. When he came back, he found the game widely distributed across the network with lots of players. One of those players was Don Woods, a graduate student at Stanford University. Woods expanded the code, including more fantasy elements based on J.R.R. Tolkien's work. After the expansion by Woods, the game had 140 map locations, along with more treasures and objects. Although Will Crowther did not distribute the original source code, Don Woods distributed his code widely in 1977, becoming the most common version of Colossal Cave Adventure. Woods would continue to release updated versions of the game through the 1990s. Because there was no initial commercial release of the game, sales figures of the game do not really exist. It is also impossible to accurately determine how many copies of the game were distributed over the years. One thing is sure though, and that's that the game was popular among those who had it. And that is the history of Colossal Cave Adventure. So with that now told, it's time to play the game for ourselves. And here we are in the game. This is Colossal Cave Adventure, at least one of the versions of the game. This is not the original version of the game. This is a version that came out in 1981, but it's the closest that I can get to the original version between Will Crowther, apparently Willie Crowther, and Don Woods. But this version was done by Bob Supnick, and then it was implemented on IBM PCs by Kevin Black, but this is going to be the closest that we can get to the original version that I was just talking about. So I'm in it. Let's talk about the introduction, and we will play Colossal Cave Adventure. Somewhere nearby is Colossal Cave, where others have found fortunes and treasure and gold, though it is rumored that some who enter are never seen again. Magic is said to work in the cave. I will be your eyes and hands. Direct me with commands of 1 or 2 words. I should warn you that I look at only the first 4 letters of each word, so you'll have to enter northeast as NE to distinguish it from north. Should you get stuck, type help for some general hints. For information on how to end your adventure, etc., type info. This program was originally developed by Willie Crowther. Most of the features of the current program were added by Don Woods. The current version was done by Bob Supnick. This version was implemented on the IBM PC and compatibles by Kevin Black. For further information, consult your scroll, which is the README file. Good luck! Hopefully we won't need it. There are some random elements to this, so even though I do have a guide on where I need to go and all that kind of stuff, there is still a chance that things could go wrong for me here. So let's get into it. You are standing at the end of a road before a small brick building. Around you is a forest. A small stream flows out of the building and down a gully. In the distance, there is a tall, gleaming white tower. All right, the first thing that we're going to want to do is head east. So let's head east. You are inside a building. Yeah, that's how you get inside the building. This is going to be a pretty important room. You are inside a building, a well house for a large spring. There are some keys on the ground here. There is a shiny brass lamp nearby. There is food here. There is a bottle of water here. I should also point out that this version is also sometimes known as the 350 point version, but we'll get to that kind of near the end when we actually start discussing points, because the game doesn't really let us know that until the game's over. Either way, there's a couple things here that we need. We're going to start with get lamp. That just makes the most sense to start that way, but we're also going to need those keys. Everything else can stay here. We don't need the food or the water right now. Let's head west, kind of back to where we were before. You're at end of road again. That's just end of road. All right, we're going to head south this time. You're in a valley in the forest beside a stream tumbling along a rocky bed. Let's head south some more. At your feet, all the water of the stream splashes into a 2-inch slit in the rock. Downstream, the stream bed is bare rock. So as you can see, the controls are pretty straightforward. Definitely something that is not necessarily intuitive, but comes very quickly. You just kind of get a sense of, what you need to do. You type in what you want to happen, and a lot of times it'll just happen. There are going to be some things that aren't going to work that way, but yeah, the intuitive nature of this control scheme is very nice. Let's head south again. You are in a 20-foot depression floored with bare dirt. Set into the dirt is a strong steel grate mounted in concrete. A dry stream bed leads into the depression. The grate is locked. Well, let's fix that. We have some keys. Let's see if they work here. Unlock the grate. The grate is now unlocked. Hooray! Let's head down, which is D. You're in a small chamber beneath a 3x3 steel grate to the surface. A low crawl over cobbles leads inward to the west. A low crawl over cobbles leads inward to the west. The grate is open, sure. We need to head west to go to the low crawl over cobbles, sure. You are crawling over cobbles in a low passage. See, that makes much more sense. There is a dim light at the east end of the passage. There is a small wicker cage discarded nearby. All right, so what we're going to want to do is turn the lamp on. There's a few ways to do that. We can just do light lamp, and that'll work. You can also just type on in many versions of the game, and it'll work. But we'll do light lamp. Your lamp is now on. Hooray, we can see. We're going to need that cage, that small wicker cage. We're going to need that. All right, once we have that, let's keep going west. You are in a debris room filled with stuff washed in from the surface. A low, wide passage with cobbles becomes plugged with mud and debris here, but an awkward canyon leads upward and west. A note on the wall says magic word Zizzy. Let's go with that. It's XYZZY, and we will need to know that. It's a magic word. A 3-foot black rod with a rusty star on an end lies nearby. We don't need that just yet. So we're going to keep going. Keep in mind, though, Zizzy. That's going to be something that we're going to have to remember. We're going to leave that behind. You were in an awkward sloping east-west canyon. Let's keep going west. You're in a splendid chamber 30 feet high. The walls are frozen rivers of orange stone. An awkward canyon and a good passage exit from east and west sides of the chamber. A cheerful little bird is sitting here singing. Oh, let's get that bird. Okay. So we got the bird. Hooray. Anytime you want, you can type in inventory and I'll let you know what you have. We'll go over that at some point when I probably have to. But the game is counting how many moves that I do. So I'm trying not to do more than I have to. Once we get the bird, we can head west. At your feet is a small pit breathing traces of white mist. An east passage ends here except for a small crack leading on. Rough stone steps lead down the pit. Well, let's head down into the pit. You are at one end of a vast hall stretching forward out of sight to the west. There are openings to either side. Nearby, a wide stone staircase leads downward. The hall is filled with wisps of white mist swaying to and fro, almost as if alive. A cold wind blows up the staircase. There is a passage at the top of a dome behind you. rough stone steps lead up the dome. From here, we can just head south. That sounds good to me. There is a low room with a crude note on the wall. The note says, "You won't get it up the steps." There is a large sparkling nugget of gold here. Well, I like that gold. That gold is one of our treasures. We need lots and lots of treasures in order to get lots and lots of points. Hooray, we got our gold. All right, let's kind of head back here. We're going to head north. You're in Hall of Mists. Let's head north again. You are in the Hall of the Mountain King with passages off in all directions. A huge green fierce snake bars the way. First, we have to deal with the snake. So let's go ahead and drop the bird. The little bird attacks the green snake and in an astounding flurry drives the snake away. For the record, now that we have dealt with the snake and we're safe now, the Hall of the Mountain King, definitely a reference to Tolkien. We'll talk more about Tolkien later. I go back and forth, Tolkien. Either way, we're gonna do a full video on J.R.R. Tolkien at some point. We have been referencing it, but we're gonna wait until we play a game that's directly based on it before we delve into the story of J.R.R. Tolkien. That's so. Ruby wanted to say hi. All right, so we are ready to go again. Let's drop the cage. We'll drop the keys. We don't really need either one of those anymore. And let's head south. You are in the south side chamber. There is precious jewelry here. Well, let's get jewelry. That's how I normally spell it. Oh, the game knew. Okay. Let's head north. Kind of back to where we were. You're in the Hall of the Mountain King. There are some keys on the ground here. There's a small wicker cage discarded nearby. A cheerful little bird is sitting here singing. So still in the Hall of the Mountain King, and all the stuff we left behind is still there. Let's head southwest this time. You are in a secret canyon which here runs east-west. It crosses over a very tight canyon 15 feet below. If you go down, you may not be able to get back up. Let's head west. You are in a secret canyon which exits to the north and east. A huge green fierce dragon bars the way. The dragon is sprawled out on a Persian rug. I don't know why the Persian rug gets more exclamation points, but it does. So we're going to go ahead and try to kill the dragon. I mean, the Hall of the Mountain King, the dragon. If you know Tolkien, this is probably ringing some bells. Once again, we'll go into that further in a separate video at some point. Oh, it's going to get its own video. But anyway, we need to kill the dragon. Let's just type kill dragon. See if that works. With what? Your bare hands? Yes! Congratulations! You have just vanquished a dragon with your bare hands. Unbelievable, isn't it? I feel like this is... it's not necessarily a puzzle as much as it is just the game kind of playing with you a bit, that you just kill the dragon with your bare hands. You don't need anything. You are in a secret canyon which exits to the north and east. There is a Persian rug spread out on the floor. The body of a huge green dead dragon is lying off to one side. Dragon wasn't green in the book. All right, we need to get the rug. Hooray, we can just pick up a Persian rug and, I don't know, strap it over our shoulder. Those things are heavy. Now we can head east. You're in the secret east-west canyon above a tight canyon. Head east again. You're in the Hall of the Mountain King. The keys, the cage, and the bird are still there. Let's head west. You are in the west side chamber of the Hall of the Mountain King. A passage continues west and up here. There are many coins here. Well, I probably want those coins. So I'll pick those up. I don't know how our guy's carrying all this right now. He does have an inventory limit, but apparently it's not weight-based. It's number of items-based. All right, let's head east. Back to the Hall of Mountain King. This time we'll head north. You're in a low north-south passage at a hole in the floor. The hole goes down to an east-west passage. There are bars of silver here. Not balls of silver, bars of silver. Let's get the silver. I don't think these are mithril. I think they're just silver. All right, so we got the silver. I should point out in some versions of the game you'll want to turn off your lamp here, but we'll be fine in our version. Let's head north here. You're in a large room with a passage to the south. a passage to the west, and a wall of broken rock to the east. There is a large Y2 on a rock in the room's center. A hollow voice says, Plug. And we are lucky to hear the hollow voice say Plug. I believe it's about a 25% chance that anytime you go into this room, you'll hear the word Plug. Plug is another magic word. We are going to use that one first. So let's turn off our lamp. You can use like extinguish lamp or turn just off. Off works. The lamp is now off. It is now pitch black. If you proceed, you will likely fall into a pit. Well, let's make sure that doesn't happen. Let's type in the word that we just learned, Plug. And now we're inside the building. Remember where we were at the beginning of the game with the food and the water? Yeah, we're back there. The goal of the game is kind of to bring stuff out of the cave and drop it here. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to drop all of our treasures. Silver's fine. Drop coins. So we're getting rid of the gold, the jewelry, the silver, the coins, and the very heavy Persian rug. What we do need, though, is the bottle of water. Hooray, we got it. In some versions of the game, the bottle of water will be empty. In this version, though, it is full, so we don't need to worry about that. We're going to go ahead and save at this point. We did pretty well. We didn't encounter anything all that scary. You can die in this game, so we did well. Hooray. We're going to save. We're going to call this CCA 1, Colossal Cave Adventure 1. We're going to try to keep things pretty good here. All right, so we will save. So Plug took us from the room that was Y2 back into the house, well, not the house, inside the room inside the building. So we went from Y2 to inside the building. If we type Plug again, it takes us back to Y2. Let's turn on the lamp, and then we can see that. Your lamp is now on. You're at Y2. A hollow voice says Plug. So hooray, we heard Plug again. We're pretty good with that. I think that's technically 2 out of 3, even though it's a 25% chance. Pretty lucky about that. All right, let's head south from here. You're in a low north-south passage at a hole in the floor. The hole goes down to an east-west passage. Let's head south again. And we're back in the Hall of the Mountain King. We'll head southwest this time. You're in a secret east-west canyon above Tight Canyon. Let's head west again. You're in a secret canyon which exits to the north and east. The body of a huge green dead dragon is lying off to the side. Once again, it wasn't green. Let's head north. You're in a secret north-south canyon above a large room. Let's head down then. You're in a large, low, circular chamber whose floor is an immense slab fallen from the ceiling. Slab room. East and west, there once were large passages, but they are now filled with boulders. Low, small passages go north and south, and the south one quickly bends west around the boulders. So from this point, we want to go south. You're at the west end of the 2-pit room. There's a large hole in the wall above the pit at the end of the room. Let's head down. We'll go down that hole. You're at the bottom of the western pit in the 2-pit room. There is a large hole in the wall about 25 feet above you. There is a tiny little plant in the pit, murmuring, water, water. Let's give it some water. We'll pour water. That's the way we have to do it. Other versions can do water plant, but pour water seems easier. Just pour it right on top of the plant. It likes it. The plant spurts into furious growth for a few seconds. You're in West Pit. There is a 12-foot wall beanstalk stretching up out of the pit, bellowing water, water. So we're probably going to need more water. I got rid of all of it here, so let's head up. Oh, a little dwarf just walked around a corner, saw you, threw a little axe at you, which missed, cursed, and ran away. All right. Now we're back at the west end of the 2-pit room. There's a little axe here. The top of a 12-foot tall beanstalk is poking out of the west pit. This is one of those random events. There is a dwarf here. It threw an axe at me. That's not very nice. Let's go ahead and get that axe. And then we're going to throw that axe at the dwarf. What? Oh, no, it ran away. That's right. A little dwarf just walked around the corner, saw you, threw a little axe at you, which missed, cursed, and ran away. I read it, and then I completely forgot about it. So normally the dwarf just kind of hangs out here. but I should have the axe, so we're good. Hooray. So we went up. I'm trying to figure out where we are here. We need to head west. You're in the slab room. Let's head up again. You're in the secret north-south canyon above a large room. We'll head north. You're in a north-south canyon about 25 feet across. The floor is covered by white mist seeping in from the north. The walls extend upward for well over 100 feet. Suspended from some unseen point far above you, an enormous two-sided mirror is hanging parallel to and midway between the canyon walls. The mirror is obviously provided for the use of the dwarves, who, as you know, are extremely vain. A small window can be seen in either wall, some 50 feet up. I don't remember the dwarves being vain, but what do I know? We're going to head north again. You're at the edge of a large underground reservoir. An opaque cloud of white mist fills the room and rises rapidly upward. The lake is fed by a stream, which tumbles out of a hole in the wall about 10 feet overhead and splashes noisily into the water somewhere within the mist. The only passage goes back towards the south. But there's water. So I want to get that water. Now we have to head back. So that's south to the Mirror Canyon, south again to the secret north-south canyon above a large room, down to the slab room, south again to the west end of Two Pit Room. Here we can find the 12-foot tall beanstalk. Let's head down again. You're in West Pit. There's a 12-foot tall beanstalk stretching up out of the pit, bellowing water, water. All right, let's give him some more water. The plant grows explosively, almost filling the bottom of the pit. You're in West Pit. There's a gigantic beanstalk stretching all the way up to the hole. So let's head up the beanstalk. You're at the west end of Two Pit Room. There is a huge beanstalk growing out of the west pit up to the hole. Let's head east this time. You're at the east end of the Two Pit Room. The floor here is littered with thin rock slabs, which makes it easy to descend the pits. There is a path here by passing the pits to connect passages from east and west. There are holes all over, but the only big one is on the wall directly over the west pit where you can't get to it. There is a huge beanstalk growing out of the west pit up to the hole. All right, let's head down from here. You're at the bottom of the eastern pit in the Two Pit Room. There's a small pool of oil in one corner of the pit. Let's get that oil. Your bottle is now full of oil, right? We emptied the bottle for the water. Now we have oil. Things are looking up for us. Let's head up back to the east end of Two Pit Room. We'll head west. Back to the west end of Two Pit Room. We'll head down into the west pit where the beanstalk is. I was wrong before. We didn't actually climb the plant. This time we're actually going to literally climb the beanstalk because this is a fairy tale. You clamber up the plant and scurry through the hole at the top. You are in a long, narrow corridor stretching out of sight to the west. At the eastern end is a hole through which you can see a profusion of leaves. We're going to head west from here. You are in the giant room. The ceiling here is too high up for your lamp to show it. Cavernous passages lead east, north, and south. On the west wall is scrawled the inscription, Fee, Fi, Fo, Fu. I remember Fum, but this version is Fu, which I think is one of the original versions. It's been a long time. But there is a large nest here, full of golden eggs. This might sound familiar for those of you familiar with Jack and the Beanstalk. Let's go ahead and... what do we want to do at this point? We're going to head north. You're at one end of an immense north-south passage. The way north is barred by a massive, rusty iron door. And we'll deal with the eggs in a bit. What we want to do now is oil door. So, yeah, the reason we didn't grab the eggs is for a random event that can happen later. But we don't want to deal with that right now. If you grab the eggs, it'll increase the chance of that. I should also point out that in other versions of the games, oil door won't work. You should do pour oil. Either way, though, we've oiled the door. The oil has freed up the hinges so that the door will now move, although it requires some effort. Let's drop the bottle. We're not going to need that anymore. And we're going to drop a save, just in case. What do we call it? Colossal Cave Adventure 1? Did I do it in all caps? I think I did. I don't think it matters. Yeah. You know what? No. Save. And we'll do CCA2. We'll get a new one going. All right. Let's head north. You're in a magnificent cavern with a rushing stream which cascades over a sparkling waterfall into a roaring whirlpool which disappears through a hole in the floor. Passages exit to the south and west. There is a jewel-encrusted trident here. Well, I want that trident. That's for sure. All right, so we got what we needed, kind of. Let's head to the west first. You're at the top of a steep incline above a large room. You could climb down here, but you would not be able to climb up. There's a passage leading back to the north. So let's head down. You're in a large low room. Crawls lead north, southeast, and southwest. We're going to take the southeast one. This is the Oriental room. Unfortunate. Ancient Oriental cave drawings cover the walls. A gently sloping passage leads upward to the north. Another passage leads southeast, and a hand and knees crawl leads west. There's a delicate, precious Ming vase here. We're going to leave that for now. But we're going to head north. You are following a wide path around the outer edge of a large cavern. Far below, through a heavy white mist, strange splashing noises can be heard. The mist rises up through a fissure in the ceiling. The path exits to the south and west. Let's head west. You are in an alcove. A small northwest path seems to widen after a short distance. An extremely tight tunnel leads east. It looks like a very tight squeeze. An eerie light can be seen at the other end. So from here, we can drop the trident, drop the lamp, and drop the axe. I know. It'll be okay, though. Let's head east. You're in a small chamber lit by an eerie green light. An extremely narrow tunnel exits to the west. A dark corridor leads northeast. There is an emerald here the size of a plover's egg. Plover, you say? That's probably going to be important for something. I want that emerald, though. All right, let's head west. Now we actually do have what we wanted. We got ourselves the emerald. And it was a tight squeeze, but we got through there. So let's get the axe, get the lamp, get the trident. Yeah, we had to lose some weight in order to get over to the emerald, which is why we dropped everything. But now we got it back. We're good. Let's head northwest. You're in Misty Cavern. Let's head south. You're in, the Asian room. There is a delicate, precious Ming vase here. All right, let's get that. We want that vase. Vase. If it's Ming, it's a vase, isn't it? Ming vase. All right, let's head southeast. You're in a room whose walls resemble Swiss cheese. Obvious passages go west, east, northeast, and northwest. Parts of the room is occupied by a large bedrock block. Fun. We'll head east. You're in the soft room. The walls are covered with heavy curtains. The floor with a thick pile carpet. Moss covers the ceiling. A small velvet pillow lies on the floor. This is actually important. We do want that pillow. It doesn't necessarily count as treasure, but we're going to need that. All right, let's head west. You're in the Swiss cheese room again. Head northeast. You are in Bed Quilt, a long east-west passage with holes everywhere. To explore at random, select north, south, up, or down. What we want to do from here is head east, which is not random, right? It's not. You're at a complex junction. A low hands and knees passage from the north joins a higher crawl from the east to make a walking passage going west. There is also a large room above. The air is damp here. Super. Let's head north. You're in a large room carved out of a sedimentary rock. The floor and walls are littered with bits of shells embedded in the stone. A shallow passage proceeds downward, and a somewhat steeper one leads up. A low hands and knees passage enters from the south. There is an enormous clam here, with its shell tightly closed. Let's open up the clam. A glistening pearl falls out of the clam and rolls away. goodness, this must really be an oyster. I never was very good at identifying bivalves. Whatever it is now snapped shut again. So yeah, it was an oyster, so there was a pearl inside of it. Apparently it was huge. You need the trident for this, so if for whatever reason you don't have the trident at this point, you like reload a save or something. Honestly, that's how it has to work. All right, so the pearl fell, so let's head down and try to find it. You're in a long sloping corridor with ragged, sharp walls. Let's head down again. You're in a cul-de-sac about 8 feet across. Off to one side lies a glistening pearl. Let's get that pearl. All right, so then we can head back up and up again, back to the shell room. Now it says there's an enormous oyster here with its shell tightly closed. All right, so once we have that, we can head south to the complex junction again. Up from there, you're in a large room full of dusty rocks. There's a big hole in the floor. There are cracks everywhere and a passage leading east. All right, let's head east then. You're in a dirty, broken passage. To the east is a crawl. To the west is a large passage. Above you is a hole to another passage. Let's head up then. There is a threatening little dwarf in the room with you. One sharp, nasty knife is thrown at you. It misses. You're in a low north-south passage, a hole in the floor. The hole goes down to an east-west passage. All right, so now the dwarf is here, so let's kill it the way I was trying to do before. Throw axe at dwarf. You killed a little dwarf. The body vanishes in a cloud of greasy black smoke. And there's a little axe here, so we need that back. So that's another random event. Dwarves just kind of show up. Kill them with the axe. The first time that one shows up, they should be throwing an axe at you. That's how you get the axe. All right, so where was I? I need to go north from here. You're at Y2. That sounds familiar. Let's use the magic word again, plug. And that takes us to the room inside the building. So now we can drop a whole bunch of stuff. So let's drop the emerald. Let's drop the trident. Let's drop the pearl. Now this is very important. Drop the pillow. Then drop the vase, because the vase is now resting delicately on a velvet pillow. Otherwise, you'll break the vase. Don't do that. All right. Plug again. Now we're at Y2. Remember I told you that there was another word that we were going to need? Plover. We're going to type that in now. And now we're back in the plover room. Yeah. That one they didn't kind of tell you was a magic word, but it was. Let's head northeast from here. You're in the dark room. A corridor leading south is the only exit. A massive stone tablet embedded in the wall reads, "Congratulations on bringing light into the dark room. There's a platinum pyramid here, 8 inches on the side." Let's get that. That pyramid sounds good to me. Then we can head south. We're in the plover room. Let's use our magic word to get back to Y2. We can turn off the lamp. Then we can say plug, get back inside our treasure room. Drop the pyramid, get the food. I almost typed the. We don't need to type the. And then we can save again. All right, so we got a few things. I don't believe we actually need... No, we still need to do quite a bit. I was thinking that there might be a chance that we could skip a little bit, but no, there's still work for us to do. We're going to start by going with plug. Take us back here to the Y2 room. Turn on the lamp. Yep, there we go. Y2, and it says plug again. It said it a lot for us, in case you forgot. Let's head south. You're in a low north-south passage at a hole in the floor. The hole goes down to an east-west passage. Let's head south again. And we're back in the Hall of the Mountain King. We're going to need those keys again. So let's go ahead and pick those up. This is where we left them. Then we'll head southwest to a secret east-west canyon above Tight Canyon. And we'll head west again. You're in a secret canyon which exits to the north and east. The body of a huge green dead dragon is lying off to one side. Still dead. Let's head north. You're in a secret north-south canyon above a large room. Then we'll head down. You're in the slab room again. south again to the west end of the 2-pit room. The beanstalk is still there. We'll head down the pit again, and there we can climb the beanstalk. Well, we're going to climb plant, but it's still the beanstalk. All right, you clamber up the plant and scurry through the hole at the top. You're in narrow corridor. Let's head west, and we're in the giant room. There's a large nest here full of golden eggs. We're going to finally get those eggs. Hooray! Then we can head north. You're at one end of an immense north-south passage. There's an empty bottle here. The way north leads through a massive rusty iron door. Let's head through the rusty iron door then. You're in Cavern with Waterfall. Some of these names are a little weird. We'll head west here. You're at steep incline above large room. We'll head down. You're in a large low room. Crawls lead north, southeast, and southwest. Let's head southwest. You're in a long, winding corridor sloping out of sight in both directions. We'll head up. You are on one side of a large, deep chasm. A heavy white mist rising up from below obscures all view of the far side. A southwest path leads away from the chasm into a winding corridor. A rickety wooden bridge extends across the chasm, vanishing into the mist. A sign posted on the bridge reads, "Stop! Pay troll!" A burly troll stands by the bridge and insists you throw him a treasure before you may cross. I only got like one thing, so we'll throw the eggs. The troll catches your treasure and scurries away out of sight. Hooray! Let's head northeast. You're on the far side of the chasm. A northeast path leads away from the chasm on this side. A rickety wooden bridge extends across the chasm, vanishing into the mist. A sign posted on the bridge says, "Stop! Pay troll!" The troll is nowhere to be seen. That's okay. We'll just continue northeast then. You're in a long east-west corridor. A faint rumbling noise can be heard in the distance. Let's head east. The path forks here. The left fork leads northeast. A dull rumbling seems to get louder in that direction. The right fork leads southeast down a gentle slope. The main corridor enters from the west. Where were we? We need to head northeast here. The walls are quite warm here. From the north can be heard a steady roar, so loud that the entire cave seems to be trembling. Another passage leads south, and a low crawl goes east. Let's head east then. You're in a small chamber filled with large boulders. The walls are very warm, causing the air in the room to be almost stifling from the heat. The only exit is a crawl headed west, through which is coming a low rumbling. There are rare spices here. We'll get the spices, and then we'll head west. You're at junction with warm walls. So weird. Let's head north. This is optional. You don't have to do this, but we're going to do it anyway. You are on the edge of a breathtaking view. Far below you is an active volcano from which great gouts of molten lava come surging out, cascading back down into the depths. The glowing rock fills the farthest reaches of the cavern with a blood-red glare, giving everything an eerie, macabre appearance. The air is filled with flickering sparks of ash and a heavy smell of brimstone. The walls are hot to the touch, and the thundering of the volcano drowns out all other sounds. Embedded in the jagged roof far overhead are myriad twisted formations composed of pure white alabaster, which scatter the murky light into sinister apparitions upon the walls. To one side is a deep gorge, filled with a bizarre chaos of tortured rock, which seems to have been crafted by the devil himself. An immense river of fire crashes out from the depths of the volcano, burns its way through the gorge, and plummets into a bottomless pit far off to your left. To the right, an immense geyser of blistering steam erupts continuously from a barren island in the center of the sulphurous lake, which bubbles ominously. The far right wall is aflame with an incandescence of its own, which lends an additional infernal splendor to the already hellish scene. A dark, foreboding passage exits to the south. Let's head south. We'll head south again. Yeah, we didn't need to do that. It's just, there's that description. All right, so back at Warm Walls, we'll head south again. You're at Fork in Path. Wow. Let's head southeast. You're walking along a gently sloping north-south passage lined with oddly shaped limestone formations. We'll head, this is nothing compared to the volcano. We'll head south from there. You are standing at the entrance to a large barren room. A sign posted above the entrance reads, "Caution! Barren room!" Well, that doesn't sound good. Let's head east. You're inside a barren room. I don't pay attention to caution signs. The center of the room is completely empty except for some dust. Marks in the dust lead away toward the far end of the room. The only exit is the way you came in. There is a ferocious cave bear eyeing you from the far end of the room. The bear is locked to the wall with a golden chain. So let's feed the bear. The bear eagerly wolfs down your food. Remember, we just got generic food. The bear eagerly wolfs down your food, after which he seems to calm down considerably and even becomes rather friendly. Okay, I'm gonna trust you, bear. Let's unlock the chain. The chain is now unlocked. We're gonna drop the keys. These are just universal keys, apparently. Then we can get the chain. And then we can get the bear. Yeah, we got ourselves a bear. All right, let's head west. You're being followed by a very large tame bear. Yeah, tame, sure. You're in front of a barren room. All right, we'll head west again. Now we're in Limestone Passage. We're still being followed by the bear. North from here goes to Fork in Path. West goes to the corridor. West again goes to, we're on northeast side of Chasm. A rickety wooden bridge extends across the chasm, vanishing into the mist. A sign posted on the bridge reads, "Stop, pay troll." The troll is nowhere to be seen. All right, so we'll head southwest. The troll steps out from beneath the bridge and blocks your way. You're being followed by a very large tame bear. Do you see where this is going? You're on northeast side of Chasm. A rickety wooden bridge extends across the chasm, vanishing into the mist. A sign posted on the bridge reads, "Stop, pay troll." A burly troll stands by the bridge and insists you throw him a treasure before you may cross. Yeah, I got a treasure for you. How about I drop a bear on you? The bear lumbers toward the troll, who lets out a startled shriek and scurries away. The bear soon gives up the pursuit and wanders back. Hooray! We defeated a troll with a bear. Let's head southwest. And now we're on the southwest side of the chasm. A rickety wooden bridge extends across the chasm, vanishing into the mist. Messed up chasm twice in a row there. A sign posted on the bridge reads, "Stop, pay troll." The troll is nowhere to be seen. Yeah, he's a little bit in, he's scared of a bear. I can't say I blame him. We're going to head southwest again. Now we're in sloping corridor. We're going to head down from here to the large low room. We're going to head southeast from here to the oriental room. Southeast from there into the Swiss cheese room. West to the east end of the two pit room. West again to the west end of the two pit room. Down. And then up the plant again. Up the beanstalk. We're going to head west from the narrow corridor to the giant room. Here we're going to type in more magic words. Well, not technically magic words, but we're going to try it anyway. Fee, fi, fo, foo. Remember, fee, fi, fo, foo. That's what it said before. There's a large nest here full of golden eggs. We made them come back. We're going to need those eggs. Hooray! So that's how you get rid of the eggs and then get them back. Remember, we gave them to the troll so we could get past them. All right, so we're going to head south, back down, back into the pit. So then we'll head up to the west end of the two pit room, west into slab room, up into the secret north-south canyon above a large room, south from here into a secret canyon with the dead dragon, east to the secret east-west canyon above Tight Canyon, east again to the Hull of the Mountain King, west from here, because sometimes it doesn't work like you think, into the west side chamber of the Hull of the Mountain King, west again, to a crossover of a high north-south passage and a low east-west passage, west again to the You are at the east end of a very long hall, apparently without side chambers. To the east, a low, wide crawl slants up. To the north, a round 2-foot hole slants down. I believe that's new. We'll head east from here. You're at the west end of the Hall of Mists. A low, wide crawl continues west, and another goes north. To the south is a little passage 6 feet off the floor. Let's head east again. You're on the west side of the fissure in the Hall of Mists. There are diamonds here. That sounds good. I'll take those. Then we'll head back. Then we'll head... All right, so this is a part that it could have been random, but it hasn't been, so we're going to force it to happen. We'll head south. Now, you are in a maze of twisty little passages, all alike. Let's head east. And there's a threatening little dwarf in the room with you. One sharp, nasty knife is thrown at you. It misses. And then we're still in a maze of twisty little passages. What is this, dwarf number 3 for us? Well, technically, I think the first one ran off. You attack a little dwarf, but he dodges out of the way. There's a threatening little dwarf in the room with you. Yeah, it happens. So we'll get the axe, and we'll throw it again. There are a total of 7 dwarves in the game, because of course there are. All right, I killed the dwarf. Second try. We'll get the axe back. Now I have to remember where I was. I think I want to go south from here. South. There we go. Out from the shadows behind you pounces a bearded pirate. Har har, he chortles. I'll just take all this booty and hide it away with me chest deep in the maze. He snatches your treasure and vanishes into the gloom. You're in a maze of twisty little passages, all alike. So we need to head north, east. You're on the brink of a 30-foot pit with a massive orange column down one wall. You could climb down here, but you could not get back up. The maze continues at this level. Head east again, back into the maze. And then we want to head northwest. And there it is, the dead end. We found his stuff. There is a golden chain lying in a heap on the floor. There are rare spices here. There's a large nest here full of golden eggs. There are diamonds here, and the pirate's treasure chest is here. We're going to need to get all of that. Get eggs. I almost said get nest. I don't think it responds to that. Get diamonds and get chest. All right, so we have chain, spices, eggs, diamonds, chest. Let's see if I can remember all of that. There's a lot of things here. All right, so we want to head southeast. So yeah, basically the pirate will come randomly and just take your stuff. That's how you can lose the trident earlier on. It's not fun, but he'll always take it here. It's just difficult to get here, and you can't always get there with the stuff that you have. So I would recommend finding, a way around that by saving and restoring often. But I haven't been doing that, have I? All right, so let's head southeast. Then we want to head north, and we're at brink of pit. Let's head down from here. You're in bird chamber. Head east. You're in an awkward sloping east-west canyon, so we'll keep going east. And you're in debris room, a 3-foot black rod with a rusty star on an end lies nearby. All right, so we're going to turn our lamp off here. And we're going to type in that first magic word that we learned a long time ago, right? We're going to type in Zizzy, or at least that's how I'm saying it. And now we're back inside the building. We're going to drop all our stuff again. So let's see, we had spices. We had the chest, we had the eggs, we had the chain. There was another one. I don't remember what it was, so we're going to type in inventory. Diamonds. All right, so we can get rid of the diamonds as well. I wasn't even close to thinking diamonds. But hooray, we got all that done. So let's go ahead and save Colossal Cave Adventure. I think that was number 3 for us. No. All right, so save CCA 4. There we go. Okay, so if you need to get more stuff for whatever reason, you can kind of go back and get all your stuff, but I'm good for now. I don't need to do this, so I can just move on and skip, quite a bit because I got everything that I needed. So we're going to start by typing in plug here. It is now pitch dark. If you proceed, you will likely fall into a pit. So let's turn the lamp on. And we're back at Y2, right? That's where plug takes us. So we're going to head south from here. You're in a low north-south passage at a hole in the floor. The hole goes down to an east-west passage. And we want to go down here. You're in a dirty passage. We'll head west. You're in a dusty rock room. Down again. You're at Complex Junction. You head east from here. You're in an anteroom leading to a large passage to the east. Small passages go west and up. The remnants of recent digging are evident. A sign in midair here says, "Cave under construction beyond this point. Proceed at own risk. Witt Construction Company." There are a few recent issues of Spelunker Today magazine here. We're going to get those magazines. And then we're going to head east. You are at Wit's End. Passages lead off in all directions. Just all directions. So let's drop the magazines here. And then, yeah. We're going to just kind of wander around, I believe. You have crawled around in some little holes and wound back up in the main passage. You're at Wit's End. Yeah, it just kind of goes around in circles like that. I don't believe there is a way out here. It's just saying the same thing. It's just told me that things are leading off in all directions. Otherwise, it's the same. I haven't done southwest, southeast. I've crawled around in some little holes and wound up back in the main passage. Yeah, it still says the same thing over and over and over again. East, west. You have crawled around in some little holes and found your way blocked by a recent cave-in. You are now back in the main passage. All right. Southwest. North. Now I believe that, like at this point, I should be able to, I thought that at this point, oh, there we go. A sepulchral voice reverberating through the cave says, "Cave closing soon. All adventurers exit immediately through main office." But I'm back in the same spot, so things are getting a little difficult. So I thought that it had already closed, but no, the cave is closing soon. Sepulchral. Like, I know what the word means, but it's hard to say. All right. So we're just going to keep wandering around here. Kind of doesn't really matter which way I go. Yeah, it's not really saying anything, is it? Anything going on here? Eventually you have to do something for me, right? This is the part, like, I made it here and then I did not practice this part. So you'll have to forgive me. But I thought that this was essentially it until something happens here. How long do I have to wait here? I'm trying. Let's just keep going like south until something happens. Oh. Nope, still says the same thing. Like, I'm looking for something different here. And every once in a while they say it leads off in all directions, and I think that's different, but that is not different. There we go. The sepulchral voice intones, "The cave is now closed." As the echoes fade, there is a blinding flash of light and a small puff of orange smoke. As your eyes refocus, you look around and find you're at the northeast end of an immense room, even larger than the giant room. It appears to be a repository for the adventure program. Massive torches far overhead bathe the room with smoky yellow light. Scattered about you can be seen a pile of bottles, all of them empty. A nursery of young beanstalks murmuring quietly, a bed of oysters, a bundle of black rods with rusty stars on their ends, and a collection of brass lanterns. Off to one side, a great many dwarves are sleeping on the floor, snoring loudly. A sign nearby reads, "Do not disturb the dwarves." An immense mirror is hanging against one wall and stretches to the other side of the room, where various other sundry objects can be glimpsed dimly in the distance. All right, from here we want to head southwest. You're at the southwest end of the repository. To one side is a pit full of fierce green snakes. On the other side is a row of small wicker cages, each of which contains a little sulking bird. In one corner is a bundle of black rods with rusty marks on their ends. A large number of velvet pillows are scattered about on the floor. A vast mirror stretches off to the northeast. At your feet is a large steel grate, next to which is a sign which reads, "Treasure Vault, keys and main office." The grate is locked. Get the rod. Let's head northeast. Drop the rod. Head southwest. And this is the part that I don't know how you're supposed to know. I honestly don't. From what I understand, a lot of people don't understand how you're supposed to get this. But you type in blast. There is a loud explosion, and a 20-foot hole appears in the far wall, burying the dwarves in the rubble. You march through the hole and find yourselves in the main office, where a cheering band of friendly elves carry the conquering adventure off into the sunset. You score 345 out of a possible 350. Not sure what I missed, but I'm okay with that. Using 328 turns. Your score puts you in the Master Adventurer Class A. To achieve the next higher rating, you need 5 more points. That is pretty damn good. And as you can see, it kicked us right back out to DOS. So that is the game. So let's talk about it a little bit. Now the game has been played, let's talk about how the game holds up over time. Ultimately, I would say this is a decent example of a text adventure game. Of course, it's the first one, so it gets a lot of bonus points for being the first, but playing it just kind of amongst the other text adventure games, I would say it's decent. Probably leaning on the good side of that, but ultimately there are some good points and some bad points to the game. The good points, I would say, are how big it is. I've played definitely shorter text adventure games. The puzzles that do work, I am a fan of those. Some of the puzzles are good. The descriptions are good. Like I said, how big it is works. There's nothing really that was too confusing about the control scheme. But with that said, there are definitely some bad points to it, and some of those would be the bad puzzles of the game, the ones that are just kind of tricks or things that you couldn't possibly have figured out from something inside the game. Like, kill the dragon with your bare hands? Yes. And then it works. Like, that's not something that I would think of. It's kind of a joke, and I would forgive it if it was just one thing, but there were several others like that. The fact that the ending just kind of happens. You're just kind of trapped in the cave until the cave closes, and then you are transported to a different room, which you then blast your way out of. And I've looked, and as far as I can tell, there is nothing in the game that would tell you to blast your way out of the repository at the end of the game, and that people have said that you basically need to look at the source code of the game in order to figure that out. So it was something for programmers only to be able to beat the game, and that's not something that I'm a fan of. There are definitely some downsides to it. I feel like the descriptions in a lot of rooms about where you could go was lacking. It didn't tell me that there was a passage to the west a lot of the time. I just kind of had to know to go west. That kind of thing, although can be minor, for somebody that's never played the game before, that just kind of wants to go in blind, it's going to scare them off from the game. from what I understand, the original versions, people were talking to themselves, trying to figure out all these puzzles, all these small little hidden details to try to figure that out. Because I feel there wasn't necessarily anything better for them to do, but based on where the text adventure genre kind of goes, this is not necessarily up to par with some of the other ones. With that said, though, if you like text adventure games, I would recommend this game. I would definitely recommend having a guide along with you, having some sort of walkthrough to kind of help you through it, because without that, you're going to get lost a lot. You're going to run into pirates and dwarves and all that kind of stuff that you're just not going to know how to deal with a lot of the time, or how to recover from them coming and destroying your game. But ultimately, this is a game that I would recommend to anybody that knows going in, this is going to be a text adventure. There's not going to be any graphics. There's not going to be any sound. It's just going to be you and text on the screen. With that said, the gameplay is fairly good. The control scheme of the game is not bad. For the most part, I was able to do what I wanted whenever I wanted without thinking about it too much. I could just type in the words and it would work. That doesn't always happen in text adventure games. So for it to happen in the first text adventure game is quite impressive. That being said, from a modern perspective, I would say it's decent. Maybe on the good side, but I feel that there are better games out there that are text adventures, and there's definitely a lot of worse text adventure games out there. So that's kind of my modern take on it. What is it like to play it today? It's good for, text adventure players, especially if you're interested in the history of it, kind of where it started, of course, then this would be something for you. If you're not necessarily a fan of text adventures, then obviously this wouldn't work for you. And that's basically my modern review of it. So let's talk about the impact of the game at the time it was released. Colossal Cave Adventure has been said to be one of the most influential video games of all time. It has been seen as the prototype for the adventure genre. It is also the first known interactive fiction game. The use of natural language input would become the standard for a lot of early video games. Although the name Colossal Cave Adventure may not be among players' favorites today, the game was vital to the development of video games in the late 70s and early 80s. We will be citing Colossal Cave Adventure as an influence for future video games for quite some time. With that said, that is the story of Colossal Cave Adventure. My name is ballerscuba. This has been Video Games Over Time. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you laughed, I hope you learned, and I hope to see you in our next video where we continue the story of Dungeons & Dragons.